are? Laura's not here. How can
She's in the hallway.
how can we possibly start the radio show without Laura? Now she's arrived.
Run.
Now that the queen bee has arrived.
Star of the show.
Yeah, right.
Well, I am in yellow and black.
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah, you're the queen bee today, that's for sure.
What's up, Laura?
No, not much. Just dealing with Monday morning issues. So, getting people doing what they're supposed to be doing. What are you doing? How's Starbucks?
Great.
So, what are we talking about?
You're the one that has the subject line. You
Well,
tell
we
me.
talked about a couple things yesterday. The election's coming up. Are you voting tomorrow?
Probably.
No, you're awfully quiet. How do you think this election's going to affect real estate?
Is that the subject? Is that the subject you want to
I
talk
don't
about
know.
this morning?
You think depending on who wins, people might move out of the country? A lot of
Yeah,
houses for sale?
there'll be a buyer's market because there'll be so many properties for sale. That's right.
We won't say who though.
There's
right?
actually somebody was telling me at Starbucks this morning. There's a website you can go to that you plug in and it asks you questions and gives you information, and it will tell you the best country for you to move to that will be most suited to your desires, your recreational needs, etc.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you go on it?
No, I don't know. No.
How's Guam in the winter?
Guam, I'm not certain. Laura's second cousin from Norway was in, from Lillehammer, Norway, over the weekend. We had a great conversation about a whole variety of topics, only part of which had to do with the election. So
The Olympics were once held in
1994, I think it was.
Lillehammer.
Yeah. Yep. But no, you really want to talk. I don't know that the election will have any effect on real estate, whether it's Trump or it's Clinton. I don't really see that happening. I mean, the beauty of our democracy is it goes on irrespective of who the individual participants are, and I think a lot of the concern about one or the other getting elected hopefully is overblown. We'll see.
Well, they all have checks and balances. I mean, there are checks and balances in place for no matter who gets elected, right?
There are. It's
Maybe.
it's difficult to see.
Oh.
Well, you've got a Supreme Court that's lacking in justice. Look, I just think that our democracy will survive whatever divisiveness exists right now, and we're all the same when you get right down to it. You can have at Starbucks, for example. I mean, we have everybody sitting at the table, whether they're Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Buddhists. Liberals, conservatives, you name it.
Is Buddhism a political statement?
In a way, it's a philosophy.
Isn't that a religion?
No, Buddhism is not a
It's
religion.
not a
No,
religion.
no, because you don't worship Buddha. There's no deity that is worshipped in Buddhism. Buddha,
Really?
Yeah, it's just a philosophy. It's a way of life.
So there is no Buddha.
There is Buddha, but Buddha is not a deity. You don't worship Buddha. You follow in the path of. Actually, Buddhism, Zen Buddhism is you have your own path. Your path is different from mine.
Is Buddha an object?
No, Buddha's a person.
Okay.
Although Laura did buy me a Buddha statue that sits on our mantle, and you rub its belly every once in a while when you want inspirational guidance.
I bought you a prayer wheel.
And a Buddhist prayer. So, Padme,
It's probably more information than I needed.
Probably so.
Today.
Okay, yeah, I don't think there are too many Buddhists in Jackson, actually.
Well,
Oh, but anyway, so back to your question. I think it's an interesting question, a good question. But what do you think?
you're the realtor.
Yeah.
I think the effects of real estate are more. You feel that more on a local level. Your local elected officials are probably more important to the real estate market than
Really?
Yeah, more
Why?
and state
I
because
don't.
of
I don't-
laws that they can enact or if they enforce. I mean, there's, I showed a house the other day and there's garbage strewn all along the neighbor's driveway and in the backyard, and it's owner occupied. And how do you deal with that? How do you sell the house when you have a neighbor that's got trash in the yard or another neighbor that has tenants and the tenants are not the most.
But that's an ongoing issue, and it's probably never going to change.
Oh, no. I
matter
think if you're
who is the clerk in Liberty.
Well, the clerk may not make a decision.
You know what I'm saying, though.
Right, but certainly, if your elected officials put in place people who can do the job, they're the ones who hire the people who do the job, right? Like the council hires the city manager, and if the city manager doesn't do their job, then the town can go to.
Then they're out.
Well,
Then
are they?
fight.
I mean, it just depends on how strong the elected officials are.
Well, right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Can I weigh in on this subject?
You can.
Because I think Laura's right to a point, but I think she's going down the wrong path in terms of how local government affects the housing market. I think the way local government affects the housing market is by being proactive, being positive, and by creating an
It's more of
environment.
a mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And
Right.
I don't think the federal government nor the state government have much to do other than providing grants and funding that a local municipality can take advantage of. But it's up to the local municipality, and I don't want to put the blame on the city manager nor on the city council. I think that the onus, the burden, rests with the citizens. And if the citizens have a cynical or negative attitude toward themselves and toward their community,
Well, that's true, too. That's
no
all
amount
about it.
of government help or intervention or guidance can change that. You've got to change the mentality.
It's easier for the government to screw it up.
Yes.
Doesn't
In other
it?
words, yeah.
Like
in
they
other words,
did.
yeah. The government.
Well, I think it's hard. I mean, let's look at what's happening to Jackson right now. Our downtown is being revitalized, and it looks great.
Yeah,
and when that whole process started, there were so many naysayers, and you still hear people complain right now because our north-south streets are torn up for construction. So you can go east and west in downtown Jackson, but going north and south is kind of hard. And you hear
but
people
that's,
complain,
that's-
but when it's all done,
That's temporary.
it's all temporary, but people forget that it's temporary because they're living in the moment and they're complaining about things in the moment.
Well,
But if you look
everybody-
back to
Well, but people remember
it's
bad.
never going to end.
Wait a second. I can compliment Laura on her dress, the way her hair is, and everything else. But then I'll say you have a thread on your sleeve, and you know what she's going to remember? She's going to remember the negative comment, and that's how it is with everybody. We remember the negative things as opposed to the positive things more frequently. And it's the mentality of the municipality. Look, you're talking to a guy who's from Ann Arbor, where it's booming. It's the cranes everywhere. It's booming. It's got a positive outlook on the economy, et cetera, because it does have a good economy. It's got the University of Michigan. You can see the same kind of activity up in East Lansing and in Lansing. I think they're doing well. Jackson, in the years I've been here, I think I've noticed a change. I think you see sort of the old mentality, the old guard, who are leaving, retiring, dying off, whatever it may be, and you see people who are now going downtown. And you have Laura. I mean, Laura actually is the eternal Pollyanna, and she opened the Orange Peacock Gallery downtown with the specific purpose of trying to do something down there. And I think that alone is sort of a mini catalyst for trying to activate the downtown. But we need restaurants, we need places to go downtown so that people can walk and not have to drive. Anyway, so I'm optimistic about it, and I don't think that who is president really dramatically affects the real estate market. I think that the real estate market and the outlook, the consumer outlook, is much more important in the long run than simply who's governing our
but at each level there are different.
The economy is just too huge. And, you know, I will say I'm in favor of globalization of the economy, whether the TPP or NAFTA, et cetera. I'm not familiar enough with those trade agreements, but I will say that you can't avoid globalization. You can't go inward. You've got to go outward. That's where your markets are, where they should be, and you just have to figure out how you take advantage of that global market instead of letting the global market take advantage of you. There's a wisdom of Schlechte for the morning. Yeah, there you go.
I think at every level of government that affects real estate, and the closer you get to local, the stronger that effect has. So on a state level, we have Proposal A, which is our property taxes, that is now, when somebody sells their property, it's going to go to the formula is more convoluted than this, but basically 50% of market
Yeah,
value.
but I can make a
And-
counter argument on proposal A in that it's really depressed the real estate market by keeping taxes capped and therefore hindering the ability of government to do things because it's reduced the amount of funds available to the local government. I mean, I can argue both sides of proposal A.
Right, but the person buying the house at the moment doesn't care of how it affects our local government. They don't care
Well,
that.
but they're going to
that
be paying
those
the
property-
uncapped taxes.
But they don't, that's what they care about.
Yeah, right.
They care
I
about
agree.
the money that comes out of their pocket, not the money that goes into the government's pocket to help fund those roads or to pick up leaves or to sweep our streets and all those issues that
Yeah,
we
but
hear
I
people
mean,
complain about.
you just raised proposal A. Proposal A is actually disincentive on the part of sellers to sell because when I cap my taxes, I now have
No buyers to buy.
No, it reduces the incentive of a seller to sell. If I'm a seller and I want to move up,
Oh, right,
and I
okay.
look at what
But
is
that's
going to
a buyer.
happen when I buy something that's uncapped, I am better off staying where I am
Right.
because
And
I've
that's what
got
I'm
lower
saying.
taxes. Okay, we're on the same page.
Yeah,
then.
that's what I'm
All right.
saying.
Okay.
That's at a state level. Proposal A is at a state level.
Right.
Federal level, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head, but.
Well, federal level usually is impacted through the financing market, through interest rates,
Right.
through the Federal
Right.
Reserve establishing the base
Yep.
rates, through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, VA, FHA,
Right.
all of those programs, HARP for foreclosures. That's where the federal government comes in.
Right, and how they were dealing with when the economy turned, how the federal government was dealing with the foreclosure market was,
Whether it was a help or a hindrance,
right.
whether it actually did anything
It was
or
a hindrance,
not.
actually.
Yeah, well, I can argue that it did very little. If it,
Right.
if, you know,
That's what I just said.
If it didn't
We're on
hinder,
the
it
same
didn't,
page.
didn't do much. Right. I agree.
Do you hear that? We're on the same page.
Yeah.
It's always nice when you've been married to somebody for 25 years that you can still say that you agree on certain things. Most things.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, all things. You know why we agree on all things, Greg? You know why that is?
Because he says yes.
Because I say yes, dear.
That's
I
what
don't
he
believe
thinks.
yes,
Yeah,
dear.
you
Yes,
are
dear.
correct, Craig.
Yes,
Don't
dear.
believe
Believe
that one.
that.
You don't.
But back to the local level, I remember when people were complaining when the downtown was being redone, and now you look at it and you hear so many people say how nice it is. And in fact, Henning, my cousin who from Norway, commented how yesterday I took him down. He got a special tour of the gallery because we're not open on Sundays yet. And he was commenting on how pretty our downtown looks. So how nice the roads are and
And we,
sidewalks.
and we took him to brunch or lunch at Alpha Coney Island. And I mean, I have to tell you that, you know, no, you laugh about that, but I have to tell you, Alpha Coney Island is a great place to go because it's nice atmosphere, it's got great service, it's got great
I
food.
love chili dogs.
And then
Well, it's
he
so
had- that's
funny. You
what
know
he
what
had. He had a
his, you know
chili
what
dog.
his comment was? He hadn't had a coney dog before, and he said, "What's the brown stuff on top?" Have you ever thought of a coney dog with brown stuff on
But
top?
here's the other thing. That brunch for 5 people, you know, everybody had brunch. It was $36. Okay, $36 plus a tip for 5 people.
No, the
In-
36 included the tip, didn't it?
No, that was 36. That was after my senior discount, right? So anyway, my point here is that I was talking to Hennings about it. His name is Hennings Pedersen, wonderful guy. We had a great conversation. Speaks perfect English, and we had a great conversation. But I said after this lunch cost us $40-some, like $10 tip, so it's a total of $46, right? So now it's $46. That same lunch in Norway would cost about $110, $120 is what we figured out. In other words, the point being that living in the United States we have it pretty good here, despite all the controversy, the divisiveness, etc. We live in a pretty good country. And then I had a really nice conversation with a young woman who works at the country club. She's a student at Jackson College, and she's from Kenya, from Nairobi. And she is here, and we were talking about the differences between Africa, particularly Kenya and Nairobi, and the United States. We have it pretty darn good here, Greg.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would not move to Nairobi.
No, but this woman is brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
I have brilliant conversation with her, but she plans on staying here in the United States. Her family's still in Kenya. But she plans on staying here and working her way up the socioeconomic ladder. Yeah, you're looking at me with a strange look there, darling. What's that all about?
Nothing. So anyhow,
Her name is Mercy Ngure.
oh,
Well,
I
that-
wonder if Henning is live streaming. I told him you can live stream this radio show. So, all right, well, let's talk about.
You can.
Well, if Henrik Schur is
Is he
listening,
back
he
in
needs to
Norway?
call me too.
He flies out today. He's working at Yale.
He has a 2-year appointment
Yale.
on a grant at Yale. He's an associate professor at Yale in this 2-year program, addressing an issue with respect to drug
Addictions.
addiction and abuse. Fascinating conversation with him, and a fascinating guy.
And had I known that, I would have hooked him up with our head of the county health department, Richard Toon, because he was telling me what a problem we have with
Heroin.
heroin.
Oh,
Thank you.
but that's everywhere. That's not just Jackson.
Right,
That's
right.
everywhere.
Right, but they would have had a good conversation. Anyhow, so let's talk real estate.
Yeah.
Peace out.
We have been talking real estate.
No, I meant houses.
All right.
So, come take a look at 6306 Burning Tree, 214.9. Has a brand new roof. It will have brand new carpet here shortly.
Where's Burning Tree?
Burning Tree is right out by Clavon's off of M50.
Okay.
Nice little subdivision. It's 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and including the finished lower level, it's just under 3,500 square feet. It has 2-car attached garage, and then I don't know if it's a complete 2-car detached, but a detached garage also sits on a nice lot. Actually, I ran out that way the other day. Good place. Good Northwest Schools District. 387 South Mill Street, 249.9, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, under 3,000 square feet, sits on the Raisin River. That's a great house. The ceilings in the basement there are like, I don't know, 9-foot ceilings, just really tall ceilings. Lot of light, and right now it is so beautiful on the river. The view out the back door with the leaves changing. Great floor plan. 6581 Lori Drive, 159.9. Just reduce that price. It's a 4-bedroom, 1.5 bath, tri-level with just under 2,200 square feet of finished living area. It's got a really nice 4 Seasons room off the back, a nice deck, nice backyard. Again, it's a beautiful time to be in that house. And then we have 2 in the city at 601 Seymour Avenue. That's 30,000, 29.9, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, slightly under 1,000 square feet. Sits on the corner of, is that North or Leroy?
Leroy, I think.
Leroy and Seymour. And then 1034 First Street is a nice brick 2-story, 29.9, 3-bedroom, 1 bath home, 1,400 square feet. And it's hard to find a brick home in City of Jackson, especially for 29.9. One other thing, we have an artist opening at the gallery Friday from 5 to 7. AG Chocolates. Who doesn't want to go to a chocolate artist opening, right?
Sounds like a beautiful thing.
He's got some new flavors he's going to be featuring for the Christmas holidays. And then Artitude Preview Reception is Thursday, November 17th from 5 to 9. And Artitude is going to be in the old Swan Creek Candle Building. And we'll have regular hours starting November 18th through December 24th.
Where's the Swan Creek Candle Building?
It is right next door to Bellanote,
Downtown. Main
downtown.
Street.
And then we're also playing with the idea of doing a pop-up jewelry store. So look for information on that too. Always something being created. Call me,
Thinking Real
780,
Estate.
Thinking Real Estate, 780-3800.